So in this part, I want to install the Pontos wooden decks. As you can see, the bow and stern ones I've cut out. We'll have a look at cutting them out when we come to do the midships. Now, I've never done a wooden deck before, so this is a first for me. And probably the scariest part of the build, I think. We've got a problem right off the bat where the deck is oversized. And I did do a search online and I've seen it mentioned in a couple of forums. So if we hold the deck hard against this edge here, you can see it doesn't fit. It's too big. Alternatively, if I put both sides in, so that's both sides sitting within the lip, you can see it's too big. So I'm going to have to come up with a way to trim a little bit off each side so it sits flat. Now obviously it's going to be very tricky because it's not a great deal to come off. So I'm going to have, I think, the best way to do it. So if I hold it on one side and press it down kind of flat, you can see it covers, or hopefully you can see there's a lip, and it just covers the thickness of that lip. So I need to take half the thickness off each side, and I'm not sure the best way to do that. The plastic cover on the back, which protects the glue, it's very thick. I'm not sure if it was just wood, I could maybe gently sand until it goes in, but I'm not going to be able to do that, I don't think, with the plastic. So I'm going to have to come up with some way of trimming it, because obviously you only get one chance at this, so I'll go carefully. But we'll come back once I've kind of decided the best way to do this. So I measured the lip on the side of the hull, and it came to 0.5 millimeters. So if we split the difference, we've got 0.25 to come off each side. And that's the same thickness as this wire here. This is 0.25. So, I don't know. What I've done is kind of held it to the side, and I've just put some bits of tape as markers. And then using thin tape, I'll try and join each of them together and then follow the edge. It's too short, I'll have to pull it off and do it again. But you get the idea. Hopefully this is clear for you guys. But anyway, I should be left with an even space all the way around, and then what I'll do is I'll trim off that, and I'll only do this part first, see how that fits in then, because once this goes in properly, this part's here might fit as well. The amount to come off might change, but that's the plan. I don't know if there's an easier or better way, or that's something I can come up with at the moment. So I'll fix this, mark up the other side, and then we'll come and trim and travel fit. So that's both sides marked up as best I can. The plan is to cut them out, and I'll use the photo wet scissors because they're very fine and sharp. And I'll just take my time and try and follow the tape. Cutting that plastic film at the back is very stiff. Okay, I seem to be cutting plastic more than wood, but we'll see how that goes. Just do the other side. Now this is going to be more awkward because I'm going to have to come in and start a bit further back, and then I'll come in and trim it with a knife or something. To have it aligned so much on this side. Okay, so moment of truth. So fitting it on against one edge here, I can see it's still just a wee bit to go on this edge here, so you can see, hopefully, probably can't, but there's a lip there and it starts to ride up the lip about from this point to there, so I've just got a wee bit to take off on that side, and I'll take it off this side because this side had a lot more to remove. I removed a lot more than this side. This was barely touching. But what it does show as well is I don't need to do any trimming on these ends, just on the straights now. So the ends will be fine. And I think on this end as well. So I'll just trim a wee bit more off here. It should be good. And I haven't done the curves. So that's about it there. So after using the tape down the sides, I didn't bother for this areas here. What I did was just trial fitting all the time, and then using the ruler, just taking off slivers. And then if you do it up here, you can do it in an angle. Just take a bit at a time, like that. So the tape was good for these long, relatively straight sections, just to get down to rough. And then, like I say, final trimming, just slicing off bits at a time. It took a lot of trial fits to get, but I think it's pretty much there. So we'll just put it on now. Okay, I'm going to call this one ready to fit. So if we hold it up into the arrowhead, press it down, it's actually looking quite good. So there's some gaps such as here, but that was the wood deck. I haven't touched that at all, so obviously the fit's a bit, leaves a lot to be desired, but essentially that's it. So the next stage is I'll give the deck a wipe down, clean with some IPA. I already gave it an initial one, but I'll just do it again just to make sure there's no oily fingers with manhandling it. The deck itself, on the protective sheet, I'll cut this in half, or cut it at this point here. And I've kind of done a few different trials of how I'm going to attach it. And I think I'll hold it down here in the arrowhead in the shelves, because this is really good and kind of fairly rigid. And then that will set the rest of the points. Okay, I've cut the protective colour. Now, you can see some of the dark laser cut lines, because I'm unsure what ones stay and what ones come out. So what I'm going to do is just leave them all on, and I can have a look at the Pontos sheet as a starting point, which I'll show now. And then that will allow me to know at least the majority of the ones. But when I took this cover off, it pulled some of the parts off with it, so that's a good indication of what ones come out. So if we take this off now, you see that parts have came out with the sheet. And then, as mentioned, I'll start up here, hold this as best I can. And then these ones should be in its proper position. What I've done is I've got a lollipop sticker and I've just smoothed it so I can, and being wood on wood, it shouldn't damage it. And it gives me a nice square edge to press down against various parts. This one, I just need to see if I can pick it up. It's a bit riding high on the edge. Yeah, the glue does get a good grip. Okay. And that's better. So with that in place now, I'll remove the cover from the front. Yep, and it's pulling off a lot of the parts that need to be come out anyway, so that's good. So okay, so that's the first one. I think some possibly this part here which comes off. Like that. For the other ones came off with the thing. I think it's maybe stuck underneath. I'll have a look after filming, but what I'll do is now I'll just go around everything again, just pressing it down. That's my first wooden deck ever. It's come out not too bad. It's just a pity. I'm very disappointed with the Pontos deck though. I mean, I spent so much time test fitting, trimming, cutting, test fitting again and again and again to get it to fit. This misalignment here, I'm aware of that. That's been noted in a lot of others, so I'm guessing the Pontos has put it into the correct position, but that's okay. Disappointing about some of these gaps, which is in the deck, not in my trimming and fitting and whatnot. So yeah, a bit disappointing really. I thought it'd just be a drop in fit, but obviously not. So I'll do the same for the stern, and then for the midships I'll show you how I cut off the protective film. That's very thick and tough as well actually. Anyway, that's that one. Let's move forward. Okay, so this is a midships one. So to remove the deck from the surround, what I do is I use a razor blade. Now I've run out of proper razor blade, so I dismantled a disposable razor to get these, and then just work through until I can get right through. And then once you get through, you can, like I say, the backing plastic's very thick, and unlike the KA models, the laser doesn't burn right through, so you essentially have to cut the whole sheet out, which again is very disappointing and very time consuming. Okay, so now that I've made a start and got through, I can then work my way down the line. So just on where you can see the heavy burn, that would appear to be where the lines are, because again, there's a lot of detail it needs to come out apart from all these little circles. But these squares, based on it being very dark, needs to come up. And I'm guessing when you pull the sheet, it will pull them off with it. Again, I'll refer to the Pontos sheet to see what ones that come or need to come off. Some of these big ones in the center need to come out, but obviously don't throw them away because they've got actual other parts, like this one here and this one for the main cabin. Let's see if we can use. A wee bit ragged on the edge. That will matter based on the position on the deck, but we need to make sure we're careful with these perimeter ones. Again, the plastics so tough. You get the idea anyway, so I'll just continue on. Okay, so that's the deck all cut out now. It's going to be over long or over wide again, similar to the front and the back, but I'm not too fussed because when we pull the backing off, I think the strips will come off and then we can trim later and stick them back in. So what we'll do is just attach some of the deck structures, which will just help with the alignment. And these will just help the deck to sit parallel rather than twisting to the sides. I should be able to get this one in now. Okay, so it's looking not too bad. There's a lot more bits to get fit around. So I'm just wondering the best way to install it with regards to removing the. So this one here has got a lip, so I'm not going to be able to put it over the top of that one. Now we can do it half this way or half that way. I'm not sure. I think I'll do it half here. Oh, I know what I'll do. Let's cut the I'll use some of these bits. Trying to minimise handling the surface because I don't want to reduce the stickiness of the. Right, that one's going to come off. Okay, so what I've done is I've trimmed off this strip here because it was catching on the backing because the laser hadn't cut enough through. And I've also removed these little cutouts, discs, so they don't get stuck somewhere on the underside. Come to this side and cut the same here. Right, so just realign it. And this one's not a great help. So this back one's the bigger, because it secures the back of this end here. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm happy with this, I can tape it to the deck. Okay. So. Okay, it's starting to stick out. Little tiny bits broken, but it's behind the main structure, so you're not going to see it. It's lined up perfectly with the mast. It should fit in well, and it does. Backside now. There we go. Okay, a wee bit of misalignment there. It's up on that platform. This one's on the edge of the platform there as well. Okay, so that's this one on. It's not too bad. Slight misalignment just on this edge here and here. The deck structures are still going on, okay. That mast hole is lined up perfectly. Slight fraction off here. These ones seem to be the side ones. Slight mismatch with the deck. I'm guessing when I come to do the sides here, I'm just going to have to take the slightest trim off. Which means if it's tight in this side, it might be open in this side. Let's check. No, it's still in this side as well. Okay, so that's okay then. So it means it's not me. Well, that's the center midships deck done now as well. These ones here I can do after, because I can tell they're too big because you've got the hull side it sits on here, both sides. So these are the locations of the 3-inch guns. So I'll be able to trim this edge back once I get the hull side on. But again, the hull side comes up and then you've got a platform here you're never going to see in there, but we'll install it anyway. Okay, so that's that one. I went ahead and installed the stern deck off camera. The principle is exactly the same as the fore deck. I trimmed the full perimeter, and again using tape initially and then just slicing where I needed to. I split the protective backing at the same point here and fitted the rear first. This time I actually removed all the parts that need to come out prior to pulling the backing off, and that was to eliminate anything sticking underneath that I never noticed. Again, just rubbing it down, working out. So that's the deck done. So this was my first wooden deck, and on the whole it wasn't too bad. The actual placement, which I was worried about, wasn't too bad. It was just disappointing that the Pontos decks just didn't fit. They were oversized and needed trimming. If I didn't have to do that, it would be a relatively straightforward and simple. So that's it done. I've been putting this off for quite a while because I've kind of been dreading it, but it wasn't too bad.